Hello and welcome to another episode of my podcast, which is called A Cuppa with Anna. Today I'm joined by Michelle, and Michelle is from Magnetic Mindset, and she's also the founder of Mind Harmony. We've had quite a little, a few hiccups, haven't we, to get to this point?
We have, but it's making us smile.
It is. Yes, we couldn't quite get the shot right and the sound right, but we're here. So anyway, how's your morning been, Michelle?
It's been fun, and I've been out hacking with ponies with a friend and just spent most of the morning giggling.
Oh, that sounds good. You can never have enough laughter in life, can you?
Can't.
Exactly. So there's so much we can talk about today, and I know that when we originally met on a networking group, didn't we, online?
Yeah.
And we were put into a one-to-one together and realised that we had so much in common, didn't we?
We did.
It was so lovely.
Yeah.
And I know that we both have a passion for horses and various other things. So first of all, tell me a little bit about horses and how you got into riding and when that began.
So riding began the minute Mum brought me out of hospital after giving birth, and she put me on the back of a pony, and I've pretty much been there since. I've had 2 8-year gaps in my whole life. We used to, when I was growing up, we used to breed and show Welsh cobs, and so we had ponies in the back garden, and we used to go showing all over the southwest, and it was just so much fun. And then I left home when I was almost 19. Kept the horses until I got a mortgage, and then I just couldn't afford to keep them. So that was the first 8-year gap. And then the other 8-year gap was actually as a younger child, so from probably about 3 years old onwards. Then I got a mare that we call the Moo in 2008. This is the Moo in our heyday. And she's lovingly called the Moo because she used to be an old cow. But her unwanted behaviour is what got me studying equine behaviour, because I wanted to understand why she was exhibiting those behaviours. Instructors were in lessons were telling me to put a tighter noseband on, or to put a stronger bit in, or to put a martingale on, and all of these things stopped the horse from communicating. So I wanted to look at what science was saying, so I did research. I've been to workshops. The only thing I haven't done is get qualified. And now everything I do with the horses is about them consenting. So this morning when I went to groom Moo, ready to tack up, she walked away. And so I said, that's fine. I walked away. I went and got on with grooming Echo and tacking up Echo. And we laugh at Moo because she's got FOMO. She doesn't like missing out, but she doesn't necessarily want to engage. And she's very opinionated, and I'm okay with that. A lot of people wouldn't be. They would suppress it out of them. But I like her to have an opinion. So as soon as she realised that actually they were going together, she indicated that I could come back and groom her and start tacking up. And it's just time that I spend being a 6-year-old with her pony again. And then the other one is Echo. So Echo was given to me 2 years ago. The story with her, I don't know if it's true, is that she was down selected for the Queen. The Queen rejected her. She then went to someone over at badminton. And a friend of mine knew that I was looking for another horse to get my confidence back on after an accident in 2014. And I said, no, I've just stopped looking. I've given up on the heartache of trying to find another. She said, she's only over at badminton. So I said, oh, all right then, get me the details. And about a month later, Echo came to live with me. So here's Echo. Now, Echo is a fell pony.
Beautiful.
He's a comedic genius, and she's the most willing, honest pony I've ever had. But the problem I've got with her now, she knows everyone loves her. So when I'm out hacking and she comes across another human, she just stops and goes, hi, I'm not moving until you fussed me. And so, of course, everyone fusses her, and this is positively reinforcing that she stops. and she almost entered somebody's garden today that was doing some fencing. And I had to say, I'm really sorry. She just wants to say hello. So I've got to try and train that out of her again.
Michelle, now you say that you've done, a lot of research into horses and their behaviour. And you also, when we spoke before, you said that that's really helped you with human behaviour as well, and your own behaviour. So tell me a little bit about how you've combined human behaviour, horse behaviour, and kind of made that into a business. How did that happen?
So around 2014, I met a lady called Emma Taylor. She's from the Leadership Whisperers, and she does equine facilitated leadership. And I'd always wanted to get into this sphere. So when I contacted them, they were asking for volunteer horse handlers. And I contacted them and I sent my CV, and I thought, well, you never know what could come out of this. And by 2016, I think it was, I was their virtual assistant. Then I'm just trying to think of the timelines. I think in 2017 and 18, I was actually hands-on coaching with Emma in a supportive role rather than a leading and collaborating role. But at the same time, I've been continuing this equine behaviour journey, which then started to look into human behaviour change. That's because if I'd gone down the road of being a qualified professional equine behaviourist, I have to get humans to change their behaviour and beliefs in order to provide better welfare for their horses. So that got me looking at human behaviour change. In the background of all of that, I was being bullied. So from 2013 until 2017, I was either being bullied by extended family, neighbours, work, and I wanted to understand how to stop that happening as well. So as I've continued that journey, and I took a year out, and in that time, I started to realise that all the things that create mental resilience, such as gratitude practice, meditation, mindfulness, breathing exercises, goal setting, and recognising our accomplishments, are the things that build mental resilience. And then I just put it all into a program which has become Mind Harmony. And so that's why I say, without all the bullying, without looking at human behaviour change for the horses, and the horses facilitating that change, I wouldn't be where I am now delivering Mind Harmony. And Mind Harmony isn't actually delivered with the horses. I'm stepping away from equine facilitation work simply because I'm an equine behaviourist first. And if my horses say no when there's a client, I can't ethically and morally, for me and my values, make my horses work when there's a client paying for their services. It just doesn't feel right for me. So I'm still happy to freelance with other people and their horses, because I don't have that level of emotional communication. Because when my horses are saying no and I have to keep going, it makes me feel physically ill. So I just can't keep going down that road with my own.
Okay, so yeah, because you said that you were running groups, weren't you, where the horses would be there? So is that what you've pulled away from?
That's what I pulled away from.
Yeah, sure. Okay, and so tell me a little bit about the groups that you're running, and sort of tell me a little bit how they work and when you meet.
So in my naivety, when I started out on the 11th of September last year, I thought that I would be able to run this as a pay-as-you-go course, and everyone comes week in, week out. And by week 4 of running this course, the reality hit that when you run something pay-as-you-go, people don't always turn up. And that I couldn't keep going doing it week in, week out, because I'd never get a break. So I realised it's going to have to change to being a 6-week programme for individuals. It's actually looking at being a 12-month programme for corporates. So my original group, I started with 8 clients. I've got 5, and we now meet monthly. So they've gone through the intensive Mind Harmony, where I teach all about the behaviours and all the changes you need to make, journaling, everything. I go into the nervous system, how the brain works, thought processes, all of that. And then if people want continued support after that, they carry on and come to me, and I call it Mind Harmony Monthly Maintenance, and we just meet on a monthly basis. For those who obviously don't want the continued support, they come and do the 6-week course, and then they go off on their own and stand on their own 2 feet, and all of them are doing great. I've already delivered to Headway in Swindon. Headway's a brain injury charity. And surprisingly, with those guys, we had improvements in memory, as well as improvements in mindset and confidence. But the memory was the biggest shock of all for all of us, me and the staff who are working with them on a daily basis. So now my attention, I haven't held any courses because of COVID. I can do it online. I have done it online with my current clients, but we all prefer face-to-face. So I've stepped back from the online work, because when I started Mind Harmony, I wanted it to be about human-to-human connection and not about being an online course. Because if we look at Facebook or other social media platforms, they do actually damage mental health. I can't remember the study, but there was a 9% increase in depression with people using Facebook. So that's why I want to steer away from online. Whether or not I can stick with that because of COVID and how long COVID's going to be around is a different matter.
Yeah, I hear you on the social media thing. The lady I was interviewing the other day, Grace, that was her challenge for the listeners, was to just come off Facebook for a week and see how you feel. And we're talking about that because I came off it months ago, Instagram and Facebook, and suddenly I'm more productive and I feel better in myself. And yeah, I think it's okay if you can manage it, but it's quite addictive. So
it is. From a business point of view, I have to be on Facebook and I have to think of things to put out on social media. But I would love to go back to the old days where all I do is post pictures of ponies. I don't tend to get involved in any of the politics on social media. I literally go on, do what I need to do, look at what I want to look at that benefits me in the way of research or coaching groups that I'm in, and then I come off again. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about your sort of journey of setting up as a business, actually doing this, because I know obviously I run groups and I do different things, and it's not always shiny as it looks on the outside. It does take a lot of trial and error and mess ups and different things, and I'd be really curious to know what your experience of it has been.
I feel like I've had a really easy run, if I'm honest. I think the hiccups for me were I found a venue that was a primary school where we could be inside or outside, because I wanted to be outside at times. But doing the course pay as you go, and at that point it was only £5 per person because I wanted it to be affordable. I didn't realise that making things affordable didn't necessarily mean I would get lots of clients. So I spent my savings supporting the business. On the days when only 2 people turned up because they had other commitments, I took £10 that night, but I had to pay £27 for the room. So there's been lots of learning curves that for other people would have been obvious. And for me, I was just like out there winging it. So this is another reason why I'm taking things slower now, because actually I don't want to just, and I do have a habit of running a hell for leather straight into something. Yeah, I can do that, and off I go. But actually this time I want to take things slower. I want to do it more carefully. And I've actually got to look after me and my mental health. Absolutely. And I've got to look after, our household income, and actually start making an income from Mind Harmony, so that we can have a life. Because if we don't have a life, because I'm constantly supporting those that I'm helping by covering all the business costs myself, there's going to be nothing left for me and my family to be able to enjoy our own life, and that will then impact the work that I do.
I think that's such an important point, because I think at my Anna's Monday Club on Monday we were talking about this, weren't we, and the importance of having a flow of things coming in and out. You know, it's the same with money, same with love. So if it's all one way, it needs to be a flow. And I think
that resonated with me on Monday, and I suddenly thought, oh my gosh, I've just been give. So now there's got to be some return. If I can't do any face-to-face group sessions in September, then I will start another online course.
Yeah. Oh, well, good luck with it all. And all right, I'm gonna fire 10 questions at you now that I fire at everyone, so prepare yourself. So the first one is, what's been your favorite moment of today so far?
I think the favourite moment of today so far was when we came back from our ride. I could feel that Moo wanted to go for a canter across the field. So I got off to open the gate, and I just tucked her reins behind the stirrups. And I said, well, if you want to go, then go. And with that, she just off and went across the field on her own, all her tack on. And then she stood eating grass until I went and got her.
Aww.
It was just knowing she wanted to go, and her understanding that I what I'd said.
Yeah. Oh, bless. Oh, do you know what? I really miss the smell of horses. I love the smell of horses.
I totally get that. The viewers and listeners probably won't. And if I say to you that rhythmical, meditative sound of munching hay, that munch, crunch, you get it.
Yeah.
But non-horsey people don't get those two things about the smell and the munch crunch.
Oh, the smell and I mean, that's just for me. That just reminds me of my childhood. You know, it was just the smell of horses and freezing cold feet. You know, coming home in the winter where the water had gone up in your boots and that kind of thing. Yeah. All right. Next question. Your favourite nature spot?
Oh, I've only been there once, and it was somewhere in Hay on Wye. I went for a 3-hour trek. We were up at the Baskervilles. Fred, my other half, was Land Rover trialing, and I went trekking for 3 hours. And somewhere up on the hills there, we had the most beautiful views of several different valleys, the rivers. It was just spectacular. And just to be up there and taking it all in, it was like you were stood on the top of the world and you could see the whole world around you. It was, I can't wait to get the opportunity to go back again.
Sounds gorgeous. What are you most grateful for at the moment?
My other half. He supports and loves me unconditionally, and every time the horses rip a rug, he can sew on the sewing machine. I can't. So he sits down and sews for me. And, you know, I've recently resigned from a part-time job that I had, and before I did it, I asked him, and it was quite funny because he said, well, we knew it was going to come to this. You knew you were taking on too much, you know? So it's just to know that you've got that unconditional love and support. And I just feel really lucky, because how many people actually get that in their lives?
Yeah. Aww. A big shout out to him. How did you guys meet?
He was always on sat at my friend's dining room table when I went over there moaning about how useless men are. So we knew each other for about 18 months before our mutual friend fixed us up. And I didn't know then. He's 10 years younger than me, and he was 27 when we met. And he hadn't had a girlfriend since he was 16. So for the first couple of months of being with him, he was like a bunny caught in the headlights all the time. But he stuck with me, and I'm really demanding, and I can be very difficult to live with, and he puts up with all of it.
So he's nice and laid back and patient, I'm guessing.
Very.
Yeah. All right. Best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Other people's behaviour is nothing to do with you, even if it's aimed at you. And do you want me to continue? So basically, if other people are being unpleasant, you know, their words and their behaviour is a reflection of themselves. And even if it's anger, jealousy, whatever it is being aimed at you, it's not about you, it's about how they're feeling about themselves inside. And I think if I'd been taught that in the way I was taught it 3 or 4 years ago, if I'd been taught that when I was at school, it would have made a huge difference. And I think if we taught that in schools now in the right way, then bullying would be less and children would grow up with much better resilience.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because well, that when we got chatting, because you and I were both bullied, weren't we, at school?
Yeah.
And actually it's really nice, because when you sent me through your questions the other day and you'd put that piece of advice there, I literally, in that moment, I needed to hear that. I'd had a bit of stick from someone, and your email came through and I was like, oh my God, that just hit me exactly when I needed it. And it's so true. And I heard something the other day. It said, you know, that there aren't good and bad people. There's sort of happy and unhappy people. So it's like, if someone's hurting you, they're just unhappy. They're just not happy. And I really liked that. I thought that's a really nice way of thinking of it, because we're not defining people as good and bad then.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you for that. And a standout person and why?
So the real standout person, I've already mentioned Emma, she's one of them, but actually it's Amanda Coleman, who was riding with me this morning. I met Amanda back in 2005. She was my boss. The day I had my first conversation with her, myself and my colleague thought we were about to lose our jobs. And I told her she was a useless, good-for-nothing waste of space. She'd never even been into my office to see what we do. So how did she know whether or not the job could be kept? She said she was terrified of me at that point. But she loved how I'd done research and I'd gone and got the evidence to prove why our jobs were needed. And eventually we moved upstairs into an open plan office that we nicknamed the creche. And I was sat in the doorway. So I always heard everyone's conversations, and as she was in and out chatting to people. And I would go into her office and say, what's so-and-so? Can I have a go? And she'd bring me in, or can I observe? And so because she gave me that freedom to try things without being qualified, without any training, it meant that I had the freedom to explore how good or not good at things I am in a safe way. And so she still mentors me now. She's mentoring me now as I transition towards corporate. I walk her dog for her. We're friends, but it's for me sometimes it's still boss and subordinate relationship, but she's not like that at all. And she's the most amazing woman I've ever met. She has resilience like I've never known in anyone, ability that I've never known in anyone. She can do anything. And yeah, she's just, you can tell I'm in awe of her, but she is a phenomenal woman. And everyone who knows her would agree with everything I've just said.
I think what you're saying, what's so lovely, is that to be given that space to just explore and someone to not put boundaries on you. And, you know, I think so often, you know, people will put boundaries on others and think, well, you can and you can't do this. Actually, if you're just given that space to explore, who knows what can happen? So yeah, maybe she wants to come for an interview.
She probably would. I'll put you two in touch with each other.
That'd be fab. Okay, a standout book and why?
I've just recently finished reading, what was it? Stress Less, Accomplish More. It's about meditation, among other things. And basically the book's saying meditate twice a day. I'm not there yet. I'm not that disciplined yet. But basically, if you meditate twice a day, your brain gets a rest that it doesn't get at any other time. And you become more productive, more creative, more chilled, more resilient. There's just absolutely no reason on this earth why anyone shouldn't meditate. Not that I've found anyway. And yeah, she actually made meditation fun.
Yes, good big up for meditation there. All right, a standout film and why?
That would be The Horse Whisperer. So
of course.
No, most people would say Black Beauty, but the Horse Whisperer, because I had a riding accident in 2014, and the horse that I came off, it wasn't Moo. I shattered my confidence. I couldn't ride her again after that, and I was in and out of hospital for 9 months. So it was about 18 months really before I started venturing back into the saddle, and it was very hit and miss when it happened. And this book is about a girl who is out hacking in the snow, and a lorry carrying logs, these huge great lorries, starts slipping in the snow, and they're coming up a bank onto the road, and they don't know that the lorry's coming down, and her and the horse go through a horrific accident. She has part of one of her legs amputated, and it just takes her to a really dark place. But her mum knows that the only way to bring her back to the lovely, happy-go-lucky child she had is to fix the relationship between her and a horse. So they go to a horse whisperer, and they work together, and she works through the issues she has, he works through the issues that the horse has. But as I said on the pre-questionnaire, it's a tough one for me, because with my equine behaviour head on, I can see things I would do differently with the horse. But when I think of it just with my heart, I totally resonate with the girl, because I needed to get back into riding to find me again after my accident, and all the bullying and everything else that came after the accident.
And it's like you say, it's that we've all got a passion, haven't we? And that's the passion that will help you feel better. I'm gonna have to watch that film again now. It's really funny, because I was reading a book yesterday, and it mentioned the Horse Whisperer in there, and then you've now mentioned it, so I've got to watch it again now. It's been a long time. I'm hoping it's on Netflix, actually. I'll have to have a look.
Yes, I've stopped watching it because I cry too much when I watch it.
Well, when you were describing it just then, I could feel myself welling up. All right, a song that you would have at your funeral.
Well, there's three. So it's Let Me Entertain You while the coffin's going into the crematorium. When everyone's sitting pondering, it's the Sun Cream Song by Baz Luhrmann. And then as everyone leaves, it's Reach by S Club 7. And nobody's allowed to wear black at my funeral. It's got to be one long party and a cake fest.
You've got it all sorted. I love the Reach for the Stars. That's fun.
But it just makes sense. It's it's about friendship and being there for each other and reaching for your dreams. So that's what I want everyone to do. And I just want everyone to be happy. So
Thanks for that. Okay, and I'm going to give you a scenario now, and I'd like you to tell me what you would do in this situation. So you begin to feel really reactive. Maybe someone's kind of peed you off, and you're feeling stressed, and like you could just kind of go crazy. What's the first thing that you do?
I pick up the phone to my sister and go, rah, 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 rah. And then I go, actually, it's not about me, is it? Because words and behaviour is a reflection of ourselves. And I go, so actually that's triggered that, and then that's triggered that, and then I work backwards through my thought processes, and then I'm calm and just get on with life as though it hasn't happened.
I love that. So most people I've asked have all had quite a similar answer of step back, breathe, and you're just like rah, rah, rah. And I can really relate to that, because I need a little rant, and I need to say the F word a few times, and I just have my little paddy, and then you end up laughing at yourself, don't you?
Yeah, totally.
All right.
And my sister is the go-to person for that, because she just sits listening. Yeah,
totally. All right, and lastly, do you have a challenge for the listeners?
Meditate at least once a day, because it will make a huge difference. Or if you can't meditate, do something that gets you lost in time. It's where you've got no awareness of what time it is or how long you've been doing it, because that's your place of bliss. And when you're in that place of bliss, there's nowhere better to be. So yeah, that's do whatever gets you lost in time.
Thank you. Jo, you've mentioned meditation a few times now, and I think we both meditate, don't we? And
Yeah.
I meditate between half an hour each morning. But you know, I've really like you really start picking up on your behaviours, don't you?
You do.
And I've noticed something recently in myself where I'll read a text message 1 minute, and then you go back and read it an hour later, and it's like you're seeing a different text message. You know, if you're seeing through a negative veil, and you look for it and you take the negative from it. I've really spotted myself if I go into a negative headspace. And a friend actually said, she said to me, please can we have a brief chat later? And I was like, are you going to I feel like you're going to tell me off. She's like, no. She's like, I was just in a rush into a meeting, and I just really want to talk to you later, that's all. When I had it in my head that she was going to tell me off because of the way she'd worded it.
Yeah. But I had a friend on Messenger last night saying stuff, and then I messaged back and I was like, for God's sake, just calm down. And actually, she'd been joking all the way through the conversation, but where I was tired and nodding off to sleep, I just didn't have the patience. Yeah. And then I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just tired.
It's so dependent, isn't it, on what time of day, how you feel.
Yeah.
And I think with the meditation, it helps you step back and go, I'm looking at that in a funny way. And it just gives you that awareness. So yeah, that's good. We all do it. That's why I don't like text.
But that's just it. You can't tell the tone when it's not a spoken word. You know, even on the phone, you can tell by the tone of someone's voice. But when it's a word you're reading or a phrase you're reading that can have different connotations depending on the tone, then it is difficult.
And it's so easy to take it as the negative, because that's where our brain likes to go, isn't it?
And that's just it, though. That no matter how much work you do on yourself, that doesn't stop. It's always work in progress. And I think quite a lot of the media make you think that a one-day course or a half-day workshop will fix it all, and it's not. It's got to be you working on you day in, day out. Yeah.
And like you say, and you just got to commit to it, otherwise you don't make the changes, you know. So yeah. Oh, Michelle, it's been so nice to talk to you. Thank you so much.
We could just talk for hours, couldn't we? God help us when we get together.
Oh God, I know. Now, is there anything that you feel that you haven't said that you would like to say?
I can't think of anything.
That's good. Okay. How can people get in touch with you if they want to find what you do and find out more about you?
So I'm just updating the messaging on my website, so it's down at the moment. But basically, it's www.magneticmindset.org, or email me info@magneticmindset.org, or phone me 07980 185 787.
Very nice. Thank you very much. What are you heading off to do now?
I am actually doing a workshop next. A&A Psychological Accreditation are running a workshop on business structures that are good for people and business. So I'm looking forward to that.
Brilliant. Oh well, enjoy, and yeah, I'm sure we will catch up soon.
Yeah, you look after yourself.
You too. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.